So the first thing we do is we put in a include statement. Include statements are called preprocessor directives, and what they do is they include certain libraries. These libraries have commands that we want to use, and if you notice, as soon as I start typing, this list comes up. This is called IntelliSense, and IntelliSense will figure out, will try to anticipate what you're trying to type, and will give you a list of items that are valid at that point in time. And here we have a whole list of all the different command libraries that are available to us to use. In our case, the one we want to use is something called the IOStream library. And it basically has commands that allow us to write to the screen and receive input from the keyboard, which is important for us to be able to do anything useful with our program. So generally speaking, with a console application, you're always going to have a include IOStream in your program. We also use enter using namespace std. This the purpose, we'll learn more about namespaces and other elements in this program, but for now just understand that a namespace is used to kind of segment out all the different programs and give them their own set of names so that they don't conflict with each other. So for example, if we had two programs with a main function, they wouldn't conflict. And that's what we're going to do next, is we're going to create a method called main. And main is, all programs will typically have, especially console programs, are going to have a function called main. Main is the function that is first called whenever a program runs, and so if you don't have that, it actually won't do anything, because the operating system will not know where to start running the program. So for now, most of our functionality we'll put into the main function. The next line I'm writing is the cout command, which basically allows us to take this text that says hello world and put it out to the standard output device, which in our case will be the screen. And we have these double less than signs, which basically means stream this text, hello world, to the standard out device. We also have this interesting little character, the /n, that will just allow us to have a carriage return at the end of that, so that we can see hello world and it won't be interfered with other things on that line. Finally, we have a statement that says return 0. Main is a function and it returns an integer. That integer, in this case we're going to return 0. 0 tells the when the operating system calls main, it's looking for an integer return to tell the operating system whether or not this program executed correctly. By returning 0, we essentially tells the operating system that everything executed okay. If you returned anything else, normally what will happen is the operating system will issue an error message. Once we've written our program, the next step is we need to compile it. And the way we compile programs in Visual Studio is we click on Build, and we click on Build Solution. You'll notice that down the left-hand side it says Build Started. And we have Build Started show up in our output window down below. And once the code is built correctly, we'll get build 1 succeeded. If you don't get a successful build, generally speaking, what probably happened is you didn't type information in correctly. For example, these curly braces are important. If I didn't have one of those curly braces and I tried to build, I'll get an error, and you can see it tells me that I have an error here, and it says end of file found before left brace. So it kind of tells me what was wrong with it, and then I can come in here and make my correction, build my solution, build succeeded, and if I look at my output, I had to click on output because it was on the error list before. I see that I have a successful build. Now that my program is built correctly, the next step is to actually run it and test it. To do that, I go to the debug menu, and I'm going to start without debugging. We'll talk about debugging in a later section. And my program should run. Unfortunately, it happened very quickly. So if that occurs, what we need to do is we need to do some settings. So in order to fix the problem of the screen going away before we can actually see it, what we need to do is change some settings in our project. We'll right click on our project, click on Properties, then in your Properties, open up Configuration Properties, open up the linker, and then go to Subsystem, and we're going to change Subsystem to Console, Subsystem Console. This will allow us hopefully to be able to see our output when we run the program. We'll click OK, and now go back to Debug, start without debugging, let it compile if it needs to, and now our window shows up and we can actually see it. And so you'll see that we had a command here to say hello world. It now showed up in our console, and the console is asking us to press any key to continue. There's no code in here that makes that last statement. The changes we just did in the project make it so that this press any key to continue line appears. So that concludes our exercise demonstration on creating a simple C++ application. Remember, we went to File, New, Project. Under that project, we created an empty C++ project. We added our Hello World program. We typed in some code. We built our solution. We then started without debugging. In our case, we had to set some properties for our project so that it would run and not close the console before we had a chance to see it, and then we had a working Hello World program. Congratulations, you've completed your first C++ program. Thank you.